They say the first step is to admit you have a problem. Well, I admit I have a problem. A problem with negative thinking. If you've seen my last video, you'll know I'm trying to overcome my limiting beliefs, to get out of my comfort zone, and to become the best version of myself. This being my very first challenge, I thought I'd start at the beginning, by identifying the thoughts which are the root to most of my problems. So, for an entire week, I attempted to track every single negative thought that I had. But first, where do negative thoughts come from, and why do they matter? Well, according to my very thorough research, most sources seem to agree that humans have at least 6,000 thoughts per day. Of those thoughts, approximately 70 to 80% are negative. That's a lot of negativity. People generate negative thoughts so frequently and so automatically that often they're unaware it's even happening. And that's a big problem. Thoughts that have no basis in truth can slip through and start affecting our beliefs and self-image. And even when we are aware of our negative thoughts, it can be hard to fight against them.
You suck. Well, I guess I suck.
We can't change this unhealthy thinking until we are aware of what we are thinking. Which is why, for 7 days, I was determined to raise my own awareness of my internal dialogue. And I did this by categorizing my reoccurring negative thoughts and tracking each one. Good morning. It's day 1, and so far I have had 11 negative thoughts. As I noticed stupid, complete falsities going through my head, I automatically am like, hey, that's not actually true. So I'm already in a better mood than normal because I'm actively challenging those thoughts and dismissing the crap that's going through my head, which is awesome. So, with a strong start, I went about my week, tracking any negative thoughts as I went. I was curious to see which thoughts were the most common and what triggered them. I quickly found out that any social experiment or public embarrassment was unsurprisingly a trigger. Okay, I'm gonna go. All right, in public blogging. This is awkward and weird. Oh no, see, look, negative thought. Someone just laughed at me. Okay, that was very painful, but I did it, so that's good. Who does this and does not feel like a complete fool? I'm gonna count that as 7 or 8, which for my first time vlogging in public is not that bad. So let's continue the day. The first few days I was tracking a lot of negative thoughts. I was busy filming and editing for various projects, and things weren't going as planned. It's day 3, and honestly, I've not been having a great day. I'm struggling today with editing a video, just feeling like I don't have the creativeness. Then I started watching other YouTubers for what I thought was inspiration, but it ended up that I just started comparing myself to them, and that's never a good thing. So, many negative thoughts to add to the list today. As time went on, I started to become more aware of my emotions and thought patterns. Firstly, when I was positive, like when I was in nature or visiting the animals. They have such a calming presence. Hi. The outdoors is my happy place. There were other things that put me in a good headspace too. Like when I was listening to good music, visiting with friends and family, or sitting down with a mug of hot tea. In particular, I noticed that when I got in an undistracted work session or made progress in my creative work, my thinking was automatically 100 times more positive. Secondly, I began to notice what triggered my negative thoughts and moods. like watching the news, looking at social media, or eating poorly. Even the simple task of planning my day could start off a train of overwhelmed and anxious thoughts. However, while all these things set off my negativity, they weren't the most common or painful triggers. It turns out that in my creative work, I had a negative cycle occurring. A cycle of procrastination and self-sabotage. Before I'd even start my work, I'd think about how it's too difficult, how my ideas are bad, and how everything I make is trash, so there's no point in trying. If I didn't do the work, or even if I had a late start, I'd beat myself up about being a failure. An unproductive day was the sure start of a downward spiral. I ended up going back to sleep, and now it's about noon, and I really haven't gotten anything done. I always struggle when I have unproductive mornings. It makes me feel super behind and just like I'm not going to get anything else done in the day. If I managed to overcome the voices in my head and I did do the work, I'd harshly critique everything and think it wasn't good enough. Don't really know the purpose if I'm just gonna keep messing up. Either way, it led back to the beginning where I was having resistance to doing any creative work. But despite all the negativity I was aware of, overall, my mood actually improved dramatically by the end of the week. Day 7! My final day. Just by taking the simple step of being more mindful, it started to change the way I think. Although I still got stuck in my negative cycle at times, it was much easier to break out of than normal. What's important to remember is that we can choose which thoughts to believe and which to challenge. We can even change some of our thought patterns over time. And while I don't know how long it will take me to complete that process, this challenge helped me realize that it's possible. It just takes time and a willingness to re-examine my beliefs and the image I have of myself. 1 week of tracking my negative thoughts is officially complete. All right, it's been a couple weeks since I finished the challenge, and I finally have some time to go over the results. Overall, during the 7 days, I tracked 318 negative thoughts. And I'm sure I missed many, many negative thoughts, but those were the ones I was conscious of. Just being aware of the negative thoughts I had made me automatically question what I was thinking. I found myself in a much better mood. I found myself not having nearly as many negative thoughts as normal. This was a super positive experience. I realized that being more aware of my thoughts and tracking my thoughts actually helps me to think better. If you haven't tried tracking your thoughts before, I would definitely recommend it, and I plan to continue doing it in the future. So, where to from here? It's on to the next challenge.